Hi everyone, this week on the Lures for All channel, I'll be showing you how I made this unique lure from aluminum and wood. This is part 1 out of 2 where we shape the body of the lure, and if you want to see me paint it, you can check out part 2 next Friday. Because wood is easier to shape than aluminum, we'll start off by making the metal body first, that way we can adapt the wooden body to the aluminum. Aluminum can be shaped with woodworking tools, so I'm using my scroll saw and my spindle sander to shape the body. With the aluminum sanded to its final shape, I'll use it as a stencil to draw the wooden body. Be sure to not make the wooden part too big, because if you do, the aluminum might not have enough weight to make the lure sink. Once again, I use the scroll saw and the spindle sander to give the wood its final shape. Here I'm marking out the slot where the aluminum will be inserted into the wooden body. To get an idea of how deep I need to carve, I once again use the metal body as a stencil and mark out the outlines. This is the little contraption I came up with to carve out the slot. It's a Dremel tool with a circle cutting attachment clamped in my vise with a square block of wood, and the lower body can be moved back and forth on the block of wood to carve out the slot nicely on center. You can see the outline of the aluminum body on top, which gives me a good idea of how deep I need to carve. In the Dremel I'm using a bit I bought on AliExpress, which is the same thickness as the aluminum, which results in a nice and tight fit. Next step is rounding over the edges. For the edges on top I'll be using the router table, because it results in two perfectly even fillets. Because I just want to break the sharp edge instead of rounding it, I'll use some sandpaper for the bottom. While we're at it, I'll sand the rest of the lure as well to remove any rough spots. To attach the hooks and the line tie, I'll use twist wire connections which will be glued in after the lure has been painted and coated in epoxy. For this lure I'm using 1mm stainless steel wire. To make sure the aluminum body can't come loose, I'll drill 3 holes through both the wood and the aluminum so that I can glue in some steel pins which will be sure to keep everything solid. Next, I'll drill the holes where the twist wire connections will be inserted. I always try to drill in a way that gives me the longest possible connection. For pike lures, I'm looking for at least 3 cm, but the longer it is, the better. Since we have no space for a hook on the belly, I'll be attaching one on top of the lure. To keep that hook in place when casting, I'll attach 2 small magnets under the shank of the hook. The magnets are glued in with superglue just below the surface of the wood. Now we'll add some more glue on top of the magnets and add some sawdust. The moisture in the sawdust will make the superglue harden instantly, which can then be filed or sanded flush with the wood. After the mixture is sanded flush, I'll give the entire lure a coat of superglue, which will give the wood a hard and waterproof coating. For this type of lure, I like using matte looking eyes. When marking where they need to go, I use the fillet we made with the router table to our advantage. By drilling the eye socket on the edge of the lure, it gives us the perfect half-round shape we need. With the eye sockets drilled, all the shaping for this lure is done, and we can start assembling. I gave the aluminum body a quick sanding and polish to remove all the scratches and give it a little shine. I also drilled a hole in the belly so we can attach a big spinner blade which will be sure to attract some big pike. Before I glue the aluminum in the slot, I taped off everything that isn't supposed to get glue on it. To give the epoxy something to hold on to, I drilled these 2 holes and also scratched up the mating surface. To attach it, I'm using 5-minute epoxy. It's better to be generous and have some squeeze out, rather than leave gaps where the water can get between the aluminum and the wood. After the epoxy has hardened, I'll use my drill to clean up the holes so we can glue in the 3 pins that will keep the aluminum in place. The pins I'm using are cut-offs from the twist wire connections I made earlier, and I'll glue these in with superglue. Make sure to cut these pins short enough so they sit below the surface of the wood. Like we did with the magnets, I'll fill up the holes with superglue and sawdust. On this flat surface, I'll sand the mixture flush and give the lure one final coat of superglue. This is the lure with the shaping done and with the spinner blade attached. All that's left to do now is paint it, coat it in epoxy, and glue on our eyes and twist wire connections. Before I end the video, I'll add two more clips of the lure in action, one underwater and one from the surface. Just look at that awesome sparkling paint job in the sunlight. Like I said at the start, if you'd like to see how I painted this lure, you can watch that video next Friday. As you can see, the body itself isn't doing that much, but I'm sure that the big silver spinner blade and the shiny paint job will attract some hungry pike. If you have any questions or want to let me know what you think of the video, please do let me know in the comments below. And with all that said, thanks for watching.